Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks, Director Wray, for being here and for your service to our country. Like literally every other person in this room, like literally every member of the United States Senate, I'm anxious to see those who committed unlawful, violent acts on January 6th brought to justice. I also believe that with this circumstance, like every other circumstance, we have to make sure that the civil liberties of the American people are protected, that we watch over them. I've heard a number of accounts of individuals who were present in Washington, D.C., but never got anywhere near the Capitol or any violence on January 6th, who have inexplicably been contacted by the FBI, by agents who apparently were aware of their presence in Washington, D.C. that day, with no other explanation, perhaps, other than the use of geolocation data. Are you geolocating people through the FBI based on where they were on January 6th?
I think there may be some instances in which geolocation has been an investigative tool, but I can't speak to any specific situation.
What are you using to do that? What's your basis for authority? Are you using national security letters?
I don't believe in any instance we're using national security letters for investigation of the Capitol. I don't believe FISA is remotely implicated in our investigation.
Are you using warrants predicated on probable cause?
We certainly have executed a number of warrants in the course of the investigation of January 6th. All of our investigative work in response to the Capitol has been under the legal authorities that we have in consultation with the department and the prosecutors at the department.
No, I understand that. I'm just trying to understand how you're getting it. So is the FBI accessing cell phone tower metadata from telecommunications companies? Is that where it's coming from?
Again, without knowing the specifics, without being able to drill into the specifics, it's hard for me to answer your question in a way that I think you would.
Are there instances in which you're interviewing people based solely on information derived from a telecommunications provider, providing geolocation information indicating that they were on or near the National Mall on January 6th?
With respect, Senator, because this is a massive nationwide investigation involving thousands and thousands of interviews, it's very hard for me to speak with any absolute confidence as to whether there's any interview predicated on any one specific.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand that. And I certainly wouldn't expect you to be aware of every circumstance. I would, though, like to know whether you're doing that at all, whether that is ever the basis for it. I would appreciate if you could answer that. If you're not aware of it right now, that's great. But if you could let me know sometime today or tomorrow, that'd be great. I'm sure there's someone who can provide a yes or no answer to that question. Over the years, I've raised a number of questions, and it's one of the things that prompted my question here, about FISA and related questions just about the collection of metadata from communications providers and so forth. Over the years, and by over the years, I mean literally over the last 10 years, the entire 10 years I've served as a member of this committee and as a member of the United States Senate, I've been told fairly consistent answers under different FBI directors and different presidential administrations run by different parties. But the most consistent theme in those answers has been just trust us. Don't worry. We've got good people, smart people, law-abiding people who are running this, and we've got procedural safeguards in place to prevent the type of abuse that you're concerned about. Now, Inspector General Horowitz issued a report in 2019 regarding Crossfire Hurricane, and through a subsequent memorandum dealing with Woods File issues that really helped prove my point. At the time, in response to those concerns, you issued statements suggesting that you would take concrete actions to make sure that these things were changed. Could you tell me what some of those actions are? Have you taken the actions you referred to in response to Horowitz's report and his subsequent memo on the Woods File issues?
Yes, Senator, I welcome the question. So first off, as you may know, we accepted all of the findings and recommendations in the Inspector General's report. I ordered, at the time, over 40 corrective actions to go above and beyond the recommendations of the Inspector General's report, and those have been implemented. Those include everything from strengthening our procedures to ensure accuracy and completeness, to make sure the court gets all the information it's supposed to, changes in our protocols for CHSs, confidential human sources, training changes. I created a new Office of Internal Audit that's specifically focused on FISA auditing. There's a whole number of things I'd be happy to walk through, but I recognize that our time is limited, so you tell me how much.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I appreciate anything that you've done within the agency to do that. I hope you can understand my concern, which is that we've been told over and over again we already have strong procedures in place internally. Those strong procedures apparently haven't, over the last 10 years, proven enough. So my view is that in addition to anything that you may be doing that may well be helpful, and I appreciate anything that you're doing that's helpful, we probably ought to have some statutory restrictions as well, so that it's not the FBI and the FBI alone acting solely upon the FBI's internal guidance documents, from which the FBI could, of course, choose to depart at any moment. I'd love to see reforms in this area, and in particular to protect the civil liberties of the American people. I think we need some reforms to our domestic surveillance tools, including things like FISA, that would apply to strengthening the amicus provisions of the FISA court, requiring the FBI to disclose all material exculpatory evidence that's presented to the FISA court. No less important here than in an Article III court sitting in its capacity of adjudicating criminal cases. In fact, if anything, it's more important here because in the FISA context, it's not public. Increasing the standard for warrants under Section 215 to require a probable cause and requiring a probable cause warrant to obtain Internet search history, Internet browsing history, and geolocation information. Are those reforms that you'd be willing to support?
Well, Senator, I'd be happy to work with you to provide sort of operational assessment of the impact of different legislative ideas. Certainly, we view our responsibility as not just to protect the American people, but also to uphold the Constitution. And we say that every day in the FBI. Certainly, I would want to make sure that any legislative changes to FISA didn't have unintended very damaging impact on everything from our sharing of information with our foreign partners, our intelligence community partners, that we didn't elevate the standard in FISA above the level of what we could get, for example, in an ordinary criminal case, things like that, but we'd be happy to engage with you on the subject.
Mr. Chairman, my time's expired. Can I add one sentence at the end just to complete the thought? Thank you for your willingness there. We have been told over the last 10 years since I've been here, we will work with you. We will work with you has translated into opposition from inside the FBI every single time we've tried to bring about one of those reforms. Every time. As sure as the sun will come up in the east tomorrow, we've been told by the FBI, you can't do that. Don't worry, we've got it with our own internal controls. I hope you'll be sympathetic to me this time around, recognizing that I've been told that over and over and over again. And we're not going to accept that answer anymore. Thank you.